Jamaica, over the past few days, the talk shows have been buzzing. The PNP group chats have been on fire, and the party operatives have been in full damage control over yet another leaked WhatsApp voice note from PNP operatives. The mainstream media has turned this into what I would call a soap opera. They are talking about who sent it, who recorded it, and which journalist is being unfair for playing it. I wanted to hear Mr. Golding's response first before I commented. Now that Mr. Golding has broken his silence on the leaked voice notes, I have a few points to raise. But before I talk about his response, I must say this. When a political party loses its mind, it usually starts by losing its voice. But in Jamaica today, the People's National Party hasn't lost its voice. It leaked it. The mainstream media is missing the entire point. It's not about the gossip. Forget the partisan name calling. What you're listening to in that audio isn't just a voice note. It is the sound of an opposition that has completely run out of road. It is the sound of a party that looks at executive powers, looks at national reconstruction policy execution and governance, good governance, if I may say, and realizes that it has nothing to counteroffer. And so when a political organization has no vision for the future, it retreats to what it knows best: shadowboxing, backroom maneuvering, and low-grade political sabotage. We are diagnosing a party backsliding into its worst historical habits. Look at the backdrop of Jamaican politics right now. The government is moving ahead with post-disaster execution under NARA. I spoke about the investment opportunities that have arisen and that NARA represents months ago in an investment video I did on this channel. I believe it was in April. Major infrastructure projects are being debated. Capital is moving and the country is grappling with massive, complex challenges. What is the opposition's job in a representative democracy? To represent an alternative vision. To say, here is how we would manage the funds better. Here is how we would build faster. Here is our policy framework. Instead, what we got was a leaked WhatsApp audio. And I'm going to say allegedly from PNP executive because the leader of the PNP seems to be disowning it. It seems the people involved in the discussion were supposedly not speaking for the PNP. So I expect that they will be severely disciplined. But what the allegedly leaked voice notes reveal was the discussions to deliberately delay parish council approvals and tarnish the reputation of NARA's CEO, Major General Anthony Anderson, to undermine government-led hurricane recovery efforts. For what? For political advantage. Veteran journalist Deon Jackson Miller, who is no sympathizer of the JLP, slammed their alleged plot as, and I quote, intellectually and morally bankrupt, end of quote, highlighting how playing partisan politics with disaster relief directly harms vulnerable Jamaicans still recovering from Hurricane Melissa. And she quite accurately warned that the party's silence severely damaged its political credibility and dangerously complicates future independent, non-partisan oversight of government post-disaster agencies. Now, play the voice note back in your head, because I won't bother to play it here. It is all over the media. So you must have heard it. Play it back in your head. Do you hear an alternative economic plan? Do you hear a policy critique of NARA's operational framework? Do you hear a single idea that would make the life of a single Jamaican better tomorrow morning? Not one. Instead, what you hear is purely transactional. How does this look for us? How do we spin this? How do we disrupt the media cycle? This is the ultimate mark of a policy bankruptcy. When an opposition cannot fight on substance, it fights on optics. When it cannot produce an idea to match executive power, it tries to tear down the arena. It seems to me that the PNP is terrified of the government's ability to execute, because execution exposes their own intellectual void. So what's left? Throw mud, play victim, and hope the noise distracts the public long enough to hide the fact that the cupboard is bare. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. This isn't new. This is the PNP defaulting to its historic muscle memory, if you may. You know, I grew up in Michael and Siaga's days of governance, so I know some of these things. Whenever the PNP finds itself stuck in the political wilderness, unable to connect with modern Jamaican electors who care about fiscal responsibility, let me tell you, Jamaicans are smart, very aware. Job creation and tangible deliveries. It resets to factory settings. And you know what your factory settings are? Slander, suspicion, and internal warfare. Look at the pattern. Firstly, the suspicion. Every national initiative, every institutional reform, every major project is immediately painted not as a debate on merit, but as a conspiracy. Suspicion becomes their substitute for scrutiny. Secondly, there's the slander. Rather than debating the respective ministers and their policies or agency heads on facts, the strategy shifts to attacking the process, attacking the independent institutions, and attacking journalists who dare to air the reality. Thirdly, the self-sabotage. Because this culture of suspicion and backbiting is bred inside party headquarters, it naturally leaks out. The voice note wasn't a mistake. It was the natural overflow of an internal culture built on paranoia and panic. They want the Jamaican public to believe they are a government in waiting. Okay, cool. But ask yourself this simple question. If a party manages its own internal strategy with this level of chaos, suspicion, and amateurism, how do they expect to run a modern high-stakes state economy? You know, watch how fast the party apparatus and its online echo chambers turn their guns on the press. The moment journalists like Dion Jackson Miller or news directors at TVJ or CVM do their jobs, which is reporting on real verified audio that reveals how political operatives think, the PNP playbook opens to page 1. Page 1 is clearly attack the media. They are biased. They are working for the JLP. They are trying to destroy the party. No one can seriously say Dion Jackson Miller works for the JLP. That is an amateurish joke, if you ask me. Give me a break. Are you kidding me? That reaction is pure, unadulterated political desperation. It is a classic behavior of an entity that knows it got caught red-handed with no substantive defense. And so when you cannot defend the context of your words, you attack the speaker, the messenger. When you cannot defend your lack of ideas, you try to bully the press into silence. Well, the PNP leader has finally broken his silence. Or has he? Well, he has responded. Last night I saw his response. But if Jamaicans were waiting for a masterclass in accountability or sharp visionary clarification, they received another disappointment. You know, even me, nobody could do better than Marky G with his response. Look at what the leader actually said. Did he address the core cynicism exposed in that audio? Did he disavow the tactics? Did he pivot to present a clear alternative policy path for the nation? No. The response was classic political dodge and weave. And this is where Marky G could have shown, tell us your party's alternative. The entire country was waiting. Instead of addressing the substance of what was said inside his own party's inner circle, the leader fell back on predictable talking points, dismissing the leak as a targeted distraction, brushing it off as internal chatter blown out of proportion, and trying to redirect blame. It is a response that says everything by what it doesn't say. When the leader of a party cannot explicitly condemn a strategy of pure political sabotage, he endorses it. When he brushes off a lack of ideas as merely a media distraction, he confirms the exact point the public is making. When are they going to learn? There were no ideas there to begin with. That's what it says. A true leader takes a moment like this to discipline the ranks, reset the standards, and present a bold vision to the country. Instead, what we got was a shield held up to protect party operatives and an attempt to brush the dirt under the rug. That has been the culture in the party. You know, Jamaica is at a critical stage in the world, dealing with real-world problems that require serious, sophisticated leadership. Whether that leadership sits in the cabinet or on the opposition benches, maybe they don't realize. An opposition party is supposed to be a shadow government. It is supposed to sharpen the ruling party by offering better, faster, and smarter solutions. Instead, what this voice note saga says is that the leader's weak response proves it all. We currently have an opposition trapped in a time warp, stalled by a lack of vision, rattled by executive execution, and forced, I dare say, to rely on low-level scheming to stay relevant. The PNP isn't losing the public argument because the media is against them. They aren't losing because the government is lucky. They are losing because they have nothing to say, it seems. And even when given the microphone to repair the damage, their leadership chooses excuses over answers. An opportunity wasted. Until the PNP stops acting like a secret society of internet trolls and starts acting like a modern political party capable of real policy creation, every leaked voice note and every defensive press statement will just be another reminder of the same truth, the same old, same old. Seems like they are desperate. Monty Perkins would say they are bereft of ideas. And Jamaica seems to have outgrown the PNP. I don't know, but it seems so. I'm leaving it there for today, my friends. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it further in the comment section. Until next time, remember, one Jamaica, one country, one vision under God. See you next time. Here we come.